Now, for many of us, the workplace can be a stressful environment with project deadlines or perhaps monthly targets all adding to the pressure. New research from the Mental Health Foundation has found that almost 1 in 4 of us have felt so stressed over the past year we felt overwhelmed or unable to cope.
So now a lawyer from Leeds has started a campaign calling for a change in the law to require big companies to provide mental health first aiders in the workplace. Jodie Hill thinks the current regulations, which only compel firms to provide first aid for physical ailments, are outdated.
And Jodie joins us now. Good to see you, Jodie. Is this long overdue?
It is, definitely. I mean, the legislation that's in place in relation to the physical first aiders backdates to the 80s. So clearly there's a lot of change in terms of how much we talk about mental health and the rise in mental health in the workplace.
What difference do you think a dedicated person in the workplace would make to that environment?
Well, it would break down the stigma. I think it would break down the stigma in that each workplace would have somebody who understands how to deal with those conversations, which can often be quite difficult. It also builds confidence in the workplace for those individuals who are having to deal with those conversations, because sometimes the managers don't know how to have a conversation with someone who's struggling.
Are those stigmas still there?
Definitely, yeah.
Why is that? Why do you think it is?
I just think it's a lack of education for a lot of people. There's a lot of businesses where it's never really been a problem and they've just never talked about it, or they've never had any training in relation to that, so they just don't understand the impact or the symptoms, really.
Have you seen a sea change in attitudes towards mental health, perhaps outside of the workplace? Because, you know, it is an issue that more of us are talking about. Yeah,
for sure. There's loads of more people talking about it now. I think it's helpful that we've got celebrities and more high-profile people talking about mental health, so people are being more open about it. But in particular in the workplace, it's such an issue in terms of presenteeism as well as absenteeism. So we're not just talking about the stigma, it's also the cost to businesses and the cost to the UK economy.
So are you calling for a law change?
I am, yes.
Are there any particular industries that are worse than others, or do you think this is just something across the board?
I do think it's something across the board, but I've seen there have been things in the media recently in relation to the legal profession and also the construction profession to call for changes in those particular areas, as they've seen a massive increase in mental health problems in the workplace.
Why is that?
Maybe just the way that their mentality is in those particular industries, perhaps the lack of training and high targets, which again I suppose is in most industries, but particularly it's been reported in the legal and the construction industries from what I'm seeing.
And what difference does it make to people who have mental health issues if their companies, if their bosses understand? What difference does it make to their chances of recovery, their chances of coming back to work?
It makes a massive difference. We have a network in Leeds called Mindful Employer, and in that network we had NHS England come and speak about the benefits of having the first aiders, and we had lived experienced people come and say, you know, how much it helped them to come back, to know they had someone that they could contact if they were having a particularly bad day, but also knowing that they had someone who understood what they were going through. It made a massive difference for them, and these were people who'd gone through full breakdowns, everything all the way up to just minor stress injuries, as opposed to, you know, full psychiatric injury. So
very interesting stuff. Jodie, thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.